November 17th, 2008. This is Diehard Gamer Radio, show 59.
You are approaching the target of attack. Your mission starts now. Are you ready? The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, go.
You are listening to Diehard Gamer Radio, the source for off-mainstream video game news and topics. And now, your hosts, Murdock, Brian, John, and Steve.
Just a couple more shots.
Oh, sorry. You should have told me something. I would have brought in some sort of beat or something.
Yes.
Well, didn't you see the no beatbox sign?
Oh.
It's important that you pay attention to all posted rules and regulations.
There was no human beatbox. It's sort of the non-guitar version of No Stairway.
Well, welcome back to Diehard Gamer Radio. I am Murdock, and with me is the usual guys here. We have
of ruffians.
Of ruffians.
Digital ruffians.
Digital ruffians.
Yes.
Is that domain name taken?
Well, I would check, but I'm not going to anyway.
It's been SecuROM'd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have John, Brian, and Steve, and I am Murdock. So,
You're still Murdock?
so far.
I thought we were supposed to come up with a nickname for you about 30 podcasts ago.
Yes, it's
Yo, M-Doc.
it's the M-Doc.
Yeah.
That works. That's a good one.
I sound like a file
Solid.
extension.
You are.
You have to delete the M-Doc in order to get this file to work.
You are. You really are.
Yeah, I'm M-Doc, Master Doc.
Yes. It's like Master
Master
except
Shake.
different.
Although I'm pretty sure I can activate you for 100 health points.
I'm sure. No, you can activate them for 1,200 Xbox Live points.
That's
Only
right.
$15, huh?
Yeah.
So, ladies, you
Yeah.
have an Xbox?
Yeah.
You want to download me?
Yeah.
I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
Get
So they'll
online!
end up with a digital ruffian in disguise.
Yes.
Horribly disappointed.
That will go knocking over your trash bins.
It's like when you try to download, Command & Conquer, and you get 30 gigs of lesbian porn.
By
He'll
accident.
come on and
By
smack.
accident.
Come online and smack your avatar around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming out. What was it? Wednesday is the NXT?
Wotan's Day.
That's
means
the 19th,
Xbox Live.
so by the time this podcast is posted, it should be out.
Yeah, that's pretty optimistic.
And I went on Ars Technica, and yes, the avatars are required apparently.
Alrighty then.
Okay.
So
How often am I going to look at those? Never.
well,
So
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, are you on? Okay.
I guess so.
So I guess we'll go straight to the news unless there's any other shenanigans we need to.
Oh, I'm sure the shenanigans will show us soon.
Oh, and we were about 22% funnier the last episode.
Well, depends. We didn't calibrate before the episode, so.
Okay.
And there were 5 of us, so really you have to there's just a coefficient there because there was actually 5 people, but if the funny was 22% more, then really you have to prorate depending on the
Technically,
fact
we don't have a technical answer yet because we're still waiting for 5 states to send in their votes.
well, yeah.
So
The electoral podcast voting system is flawed.
I just want to know what the unit of funny is.
Wow.
I think it's the Shemp.
I thought it was the Mo.
The
Yeah.
Mo. I think that's a
It's a
that's a
slow-mo.
smaller unit
Those
of a
were-
Shemp. It's like
They were
you
sort
have
of the-
one whole Shemp and it's 10 Mo's to a Shemp.
Those were the analog ruffians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, see, we have now international standard for funny.
The Shemp.
Yes, the Shemp.
Huh.
So
Unless you're in Africa and it's a yuck yucks.
Was that 3 Pico Shemps?
I don't know what the yuck yuck equivalent is. Probably like a 3-to-1. Maybe it's more like a euro.
So now your
2 to
hooks
1.
here, Murdock, are the digital ruffian and
the Shemp.
the Shemp.
Yes.
All right.
So, all right. Moving on. Actually, we haven't moved. We can't move on. We haven't even started yet.
Yep.
Okay. So our first news We have more lawsuits. Fun, fun, fun. It's EA hit with 2 more lawsuits over the use of SecuROM.
Can you write back when somebody wins one of these instead of when somebody just makes a dumbass lawsuit?
Well,
Is it heretical for me to not care about SecuROM?
I don't know.
I mean, seriously, I've played like a couple games now where I didn't even know it was there. It was so much of a non-issue.
Yeah, it's
Sounds
not like the
it's
other
working
ones out
fine
there.
for you then.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
The one they used for Bioshock was much more annoying.
well, the one they used for TurboTax was really annoying.
really now.
I mean, that's where it starts bugging me. But, you know, all right. I mean, at least I don't have to use the stupid little dial and look at the proper page and the proper word on the proper sentence of the proper paragraph to play my game every time.
and you don't have to guess the last number or
Digit
letter
of the
on your...
Oh, I got a story about that, actually. We'll save that for later.
Oh, okay. So kids just curl up by the computer here, you know, the warmth of the computer, because Uncle Steve's going to have a story for you.
It says it can't be completely uninstalled. Is that even if you go into the registry?
I don't...
It probably means the uninstaller doesn't uninstall it all.
Yeah.
Which is
I would just go
pretty
to the registry
common for
and make it.
uninstallers. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an uninstaller that uninstalled everything on Windows. You know,
you really need to get somebody or get like RegEdit and go in there about every 2 or 3 months.
Or
and
just
completely clean
Just
it.
go to the
Format
Slashdot
your
thread.
system once a year.
Yeah, go to the
or
Slashdot
just
thread
not
and just...
care. I mean,
Yeah.
the
That too.
vast majority of the time, it doesn't break anything. You know, so I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just crazy.
I do
I'm
a
paying,
reinstall about once a year anyhow, so
I'm
it doesn't
paying
really
$60
matter.
for my game. It never ends up being an issue. So I don't know. Maybe it's more of an issue if your system sucks or you're not actually paying for your game.
The times I've gotten annoyed with it is where it's prevented me from playing a game. And it's certainly one of the things that has made me much more reluctant to buy PC games because I don't want to buy one and not be able to play it again.
Mm-hmm.
I've never enjoyed it.
First happened to me with Diablo 2, actually.
Really?
Really?
Yep. I had one of those Kenwood TrueX drives. Completely fuck-stored all the copy protection programs because it didn't read drives like anything it expected it to.
Crazy.
Or read disks.
So
Can't
that
say I
wasn't
ever ran into that
SecuROM,
one.
that was a drive problem, wasn't it?
Well, I mean,
It was
SecuROM
when
wasn't
SecuROM
around
was
back in the
around,
day. The
yeah.
drive worked fine. No, what it was the copy protection was expecting the drive to do particular things for the types of errors they had inserted into the disk, and
Yeah,
it
and
didn't
do that.
because the TrueX drives were awesome.
Well, it's like back in the day when they used to have different like sector maps for floppy drives.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, back then there weren't that many different kind of floppy drives, so it wasn't much of an issue. Now there's, you know, once they become a commodity part and somebody decides, well, I could make, you know, half a cent every, 20 units by making it this way instead of this way, and that way is not very standard, blah.
All right. So enough about DRM type
Well,
stuff.
something that I worry about with this new generation of DRM stuff they're doing is how do these games work once the company disappears and all the DRM servers just disappear?
You're not supposed to care about games after a year.
You're not supposed to care about games after the first 3 weeks after launch, I
Well,
think.
yes.
The companies certainly don't.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you're Stardock.
Or EA, strangely enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They just announced even more content for Burnout Paradise. It's going to be coming out next year.
Yeah, I saw that.
I wish I wanted to play that game.
Were they adding in?
It's a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Were they adding in like babalities and things? Like they're adding the mini cars in.
I think it
I saw they're actually going to be selling miniature cars you can buy that are like Hot Wheels that are miniature versions of their existing cars you can drive in the game.
Well, coming up pretty soon, they're going to be doing the Party Pack thing, which does the whole party mode for the game, which actually isn't going to be free like everything else they've done. And they're also releasing a number of cars, some of which are pay and some of which are free.
And the motorcycles
which are already out.
are out, yeah.
And they already did all the weather effects, too, which was a really nice addition to the game, actually.
Crazy.
They just keep adding on to that.
Did it just take them too long to do the weather effects, or do you think they plan to do that all along?
I don't know. I mean, it's been so long. I can't imagine they just had all this stuff sitting around to this point. And, I mean, some of the things, like the motorcycles, really feel like they just kind of slapped it on the side. It's, fun to play around with, but it's definitely not as polished as everything else is.
They didn't do a lot of play testing with the motorcycles.
It's free.
All right.
So, I don't know. I mean, it seems like somewhere there's still a couple of dudes working on Burnout Paradise 2 years later. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, there's
especially for EA.
well, it's probably like two dudes that are forced to work on it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we are talking
They're
EA
chained
here.
to their desk and told to make more content.
Yeah, they're like, what year is it?
You don't get any bacon strips unless you actually make new content for Burnout Paradise.
All right.
I'm pretty sure Activision is the new evil, honestly.
Well, it could be.
They put the E in evil.
Well, at least there was that thing a couple weeks ago about how EA was like, yeah, you know what? I think we need to make original content now because our franchise
Well,
kind
they
of
did.
sucking.
I mean, that's the whole Christmas release for EA is all these
Yeah,
like new
yeah.
IP, original content, interesting game ideas, and
Yeah.
they post a loss.
All right.
Yeah.
Activision,
Well, frickin' everybody posts a loss now. So
Creativity
Well,
kills.
Activision doing pretty well, and their new game plan is we don't
Well.
want to release anything unless we can release a sequel to it every 8 months.
Well, they're also kind of benefiting a little bit from WoW
All right. So let's move on because
and
we've talked
Rock
about
Band.
this
and
topic
Rock Band.
enough.
Yeah, but mostly WoW.
Okay. So our next topic is our next news item is the continuing war against pre-owns.
Which is really quite related, actually.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
our
yeah.
first part of this is that the We Speak channel, which none of us care about, Nintendo confirmed that the We Speak channel will not be accessible unless the microphone unit is purchased as new. If you buy it used, you're pretty much shit out of luck.
Is this
Well, I
something that a
mean,
lot of
it'll
people
still
use?
work.
It's supposed to be used for, I believe, Animal Crossing, and I know that they're going to come up with
It'll
more
be
games
for
that
all
use it.
those, multiplayer games on the Wii that you play.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
With people online
Right.
that
With
you
your
swap
friend
your friend
codes.
codes with.
Yeah.
Yeah, them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it'll still work with the games. The Wii
can play
Speak
with
channel
friends.
is what you just can talk to people just using the dashboard equivalent. The channels thing.
Huh.
They're like the upgraded version of PictoChat.
No, because
Apparently.
I don't think you get to draw things.
So it's just basically you get to
Can't
talk
you just
to
like
people
wiggle
with
into
your
the air and
TV.
draw with it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
When did they come out with a Wii version of Spirograph?
Gee, if only someday they'll make things you can talk to people that are smaller than a TV.
Mm.
Maybe even portable.
Yes, that would be excellent.
Yeah.
Truly a business plan someone should get
Whoa!
Yeah.
You know Nintendo's about 4
Heard the-
years behind that.
I heard the fins are on that somewhere.
on. Oh, come on.
The fins don't do anything.
All right.
Just
So-
drink.
So the second part of this is that Michael Capps from he works at Epic Studios, and he said this, which is possibly the stupidest idea ever. But he said the secondary market is a huge issue in the United States. Well, it's a huge issue except for GameStop. But I'll move on. Our primary retailer makes the majority of its money off of secondary sales. And so you're starting to see some games take proactive steps toward that buy. And his idea was if you buy the retail version, you get the unlock code. I've talked to some developers who are saying if you want to fight the final boss, you go online and pay $20. But if you bought the retail version, you get it for free.
Sounds like a really great way to not sell any games.
Well, I mean, they're already doing that. It's called make your entire game downloadable.
Well,
There,
yeah.
mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's no secondary market for, Steam games.
Yeah. But at least Steam makes good games. You know?
yeah. So an easy way around this is not making games that suck.
Well, that's the easy way around all these quote-unquote problems that industries have, is to make stuff that people want to pay for. I don't know
Well-
why this is such a hard thing for people to figure out.
Although one place that I do think that the secondary game market does affect is I think it pushes that idea of trying to get all of their game sales in the first week. Because if you've got a game that hits a niche market and people buy it slowly and steadily over time, then a much greater percentage ends up being part of the secondary market. So unless they can find a way to actually price the games higher for that, which you really can't do because then people say they're getting ripped off, is really need to take those smaller games and turn them into downloadable ones, and retail just really isn't as good an idea for niche markets anymore.
Well, yeah, that's probably true.
So
But it also saves them money on distribution if they're not selling at retail too. So if
Yep.
you're in a niche market, you're not getting as much revenue anyway. So you might as well have a distribution method that doesn't cost as much.
Yepper.
So
Downloadable, way of the
future of video
just
games,
like
yeah.
everybody's been saying. For
Although I gotta
10
say,
years now.
direct to drive, slowest ass downloads ever.
Oh.
Just not worth it. They've got the slowest ass server down. I mean, it took me 3 frickin' days to download Warhammer.
I need to run some horses through them tubes.
Yeah, like one of those little scrubber things.
Yeah,
Those little
scrubbing
automated
bubbles.
scrubble things.
Scrubbing bubbles.
No, well, like the digital bubbles, maybe. Maybe we should get some digital ruffians that are out of work to run through the tubes.
Maybe digital chimney sweeps.
Yes, exactly. It'll be like Mary Poppins in the tubes.
Will there be animated penguins along with it
there
too?
Will be. There will.
Well,
Dick
that's
Van
just
Dyke will
one
be
of the
Van
running
Dyke,
around.
many,
yeah.
many memes that will need to be cleaned out of the tubes.
Ah. That's awesome.
Yes. Dick
All
Van
right.
Dyke will be running around there with a
Spoonful of sugar.
packet sniffer.
If you draw the short straw, you have to clean out 4chan.
Oh.
It's like that XKCD where he's like, I'm here at B, and he's got a little helmet on, and it's got a little thing. That helmet won't help him.
All right. So moving on, since we've done enough nerdity here.
Hey, it was all totally related.
Okay. So PETA does it again. Cooking Mama, Mama Kills Animals. It's one of their original IPs.
Well, fortunately, they're covered by parody laws.
Well, true. So
Fortunately for them.
it's Super Chick Brothers all over again.
Well, what is this one now? Because Albert was playing it, and all he had to say about it was that it had the worst control scheme he's ever played with.
So it's an accurate parody then.
Apparently.
Well, you play you play the game where you do Cooking Mama and you kill a bunch of animals, and once you clear the game, it actually then goes to a video of an actual processing facility where these animals are made into various
Tasty treats.
yes. And from the reaction on, I think it was a Joystick, they said it was quite graphic and very loud.
Well, that sounds pretty standard for a PETA video.
Yeah,
It's
pretty much.
trying to disgust you into never wanting to eat again.
Well, and it was kind of funny. One person was saying that obviously the people who wrote this game had never cut meat before because apparently the cutting was so atrociously inaccurate.
Okay, have you played the actual Cooking Mama
Well,
game?
maybe
Not entirely accurate. A stylus does not cut meat.
Also, apparently the PETA people are apparently upset that when you kill a turkey, you cut its throat. Because apparently the better thing to do is find some other slower way to kill the turkey.
What, like electrocuting them or something? I
I
forget
figured
what the humane
skinning
method
them
is.
alive or something.
A slower way to make them die would probably be, sit them down and watch Postal,
Yeah.
which I actually watched.
Pain equals tasty turkey.
Ugh.
But you're still alive, so it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Doesn't work. It's
Yeah.
a flawed implementation. Back to the drawing board, buddy.
Oh man.
I'd have to fly the coop.
Oh.
So, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did another parody.
And it
Good for
sucks
them.
like the last one.
Yes.
Next.
No Street Fighter 4 in U.S. arcades, but then again, there aren't any U.S. arcades, so there you go.
What is this arcades that you speak of?
Oh, well, you see, you grab a penny and then you put it in the slot, and then you can watch a little animated horse run around, and then you can go to the World's Fair.
Yeah, but
You
the
take
arcade
turns
game
putting
we
in
are
quarters
getting,
and you use Safeway cards instead.
And an arcade is where you go play a fighting game, and then some small Asian kid will join in and beat your ass by tapping 3 buttons.
I thought that was DDR.
No, that was Killer Instinct.
That was any fighting game or Defender. So,
But so this
You
makes
trying
it
to
all the
tell
more
us something, Chris?
surprising that we actually are getting a new arcade game.
well, Japan is getting a new arcade game. We are going to have to wait for the home version.
Well, no,
February.
I'm talking about the Guitar Hero arcade.
Oh yeah,
game.
that's coming up.
You're spoiling
Well,
the surprise.
The
Yeah,
problem
that's
is we don't
coming
get arcade games per se anymore. We just get stand-up action games where you physically do.
Yeah, we
things.
get more
There's no such
expensive
thing as the
versions of
old-fashioned
Wii
arcade
hardware.
game.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's fucking Dave and Buster's.
Yep.
that's
Pretty
where
much.
Namco makes a lot of money.
The Wii has removed the last reason to go to the arcades.
Pretty much. I'm sure that's
kinda.
I'm sure that's part of it. It's like, well, this is what arcades are offering. Let's just offer it in a home console. Well, there you go. So
I still can't get tickets out of my Wii though.
I'm sure Nintendo will come out with
I'm
an
sure-
accessory for that too.
you may need to see a doctor for that.
They seem to have a machine that prints money, so
You won't be able to buy it used.
Oh,
So
get your Wii Speak headset.
apparently not.
yeah. So next up, the Lich King. Oh, sorry, Lich King.
Lich King.
Lich King.
Lychee King.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
no,
it's
that would be a
Chinese.
cool. Now, that would be a cool expansion.
The Lychee King.
Yeah.
Hasn't Final Fantasy done that already?
Well,
Yeah, someone broke the level cap of 2
yes.
in Final Fantasy. It took them about 5 days, but they did it.
Like a 25-party raid to accomplish.
So the Lich King level cap already reached in 27 hours. Gee, what a surprise! I think I called this last podcast
Well,
that
gee,
someone
I
would
mean,
be you
somebody grinding something out in WoW.
know. Yeah, what a
Took,
surprise!
what was it? 2 clans, less than 3 days to complete all of the new
All that new raid content.
new raid. Yeah.
Yeah, but have
Item.
they grounded enough times to get every drop they wanted to yet?
Well, that's I don't know.
So
Didn't specify in the source material here.
so
Apparently they now they need to apparently Blizzard now wants to put out more difficult raid content, which was something that they had deliberately stopped doing because people couldn't raid because WoW at the end is no longer a casual game.
Yeah, so people just whine on both sides, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, and
Damned
that's
if you
been
do,
going on
damned if you
since
don't.
the Meridian 38 or 59 or whatever. Ultima Online.
I don't suppose it's possible to put a difficulty screen in front of your massively multiplayer game.
Can't
Probably
run it on
not.
Fraps.
Can't just
Probably
pick
not.
hard and you
No.
get half as many hit points as
No,
everybody else.
no. Sadly, no.
so they can't like enter an area and it gives them a warning. It's like, oh, by the way, you need to be, this tall to enter this realm.
This
or
cave
something
has
like
a
that.
handicap of
That's-
4.
That's Eve.
Oh, that's Eve.
It's gonna be like golfing. You have a handicap when you go into certain caves.
Eve got a new content update with a README file that was 17 pages long.
Oh my
Yeah, speaking of
I didn't know
games
they're
that
doing
keep
readme
getting
books.
updates,
Yeah.
how much longer are we going to have to wait before you can walk around stations? Which
Well,
seems pretty
that's,
goddamn crazy.
That's a good question.
Welcome to your Eve avatar.
They're going to depod the pods.
Yeah, they keep saying they're going to do that, but in true Debian style, they'll get to it when they get to it.
I think
It'll
they've
be
already-
done when it's done.
They've shown footage, though, haven't they?
They have, but it was a long time ago.
Mm.
It was like at the last, their little Eve conference last year or so.
So still not going to get Wrath of Lich King,
No.
Steve?
No.
Okay.
He's moved on.
I'm so past caring about World of Warcraft.
Mm.
Huh.
So
Just don't care.
You ought to be getting an email soon.
Yeah, I probably will. I got to think, come back to WoW. I got one for saying, yeah, I got an email thing. Did I send it to you guys about the
Hellgate?
Hellgate
Yeah.
servers getting shut down?
And it didn't even propagate the.
Oh yeah, right. That didn't have the mail form. The mail insert thing didn't even work, so it just had customer name and
it's like
They
account
weren't-
name.
They
it's
weren't
like
trying real hard for
No.
QA at that
Yeah.
point.
No, they're like, well, screw it.
Last ditch email. Nobody really gave a shit.
yeah.
They were going to put out a proper email spam, but they fired the guy who was supposed to do that program. So
That's awesome.
He left last week.
At
You
least they
send it out.
notified people.
yeah,
Well, or they could have gone to Kotaku and find out about it like a week ago.
every once in a while I still get an email about Lineage.
Is that still up and running?
Yeah, Lineage 2 is.
Wow.
It's like half. Well, not like maybe 1/8 of the country of Korea plays that game, man. Then there's a 1/8 that plays Ragnarok Online, and the other 2/8 or 1/4, I guess, plays StarCraft.
Mm.
So.
So I
And
wonder if it's going to be a national holiday when StarCraft 2 comes out.
probably.
Maybe.
It's for me.
Well, in Korea they'll have parades.
Yeah, well,
and then tournaments the week later.
I'm kind of, I'm occasionally logging into Warhammer now, though I haven't been playing as much lately. But I'm still looking forward to Jumpgate Evolution and the Star Trek MMO.
Oh yeah, that beta's full up.
So
There's an article in Kotaku talking about that too, about the engine for the Star Trek MMO. They've already designed it for 360 and PC, and now they're looking to build it for the PS3.
Well,
it
they had their
was
help
pre-rolled.
wanted ad where they claim to have done so, which is not always the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, the basis they're using for the engine was more or less pre-rolled for the MMO engine apparently. So that's why they were able to say, well, we're taking over starting from number from square one, and it'll be 2 years. Like, really?
Yeah.
All right.
But they're doing pretty their news release stream for the Star Trek MMO is actually pretty consistent. So
Somebody's paying attention.
Yeah.
They have a PR person.
yeah, they've got they're aware that they've got to keep people interested. So
Okay.
Especially since nobody else is doing that for Star Trek.
yeah, yeah.
So next,
there was actually they did.
I'm making a coup. I'm going to the next topic.
No,
Go
there
for
was
it. Just do it, man. Just do it.
Quantum of Solace apparently has the most recent Star Trek trailer in front of it.
Yeah, you can go
So-
to the Apple website and
Well,
view it.
now you can, but you couldn't.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
But apparently, in the
Stop him while you
graphics and
can.
stuff and the
Stop him.
character designs actually
Just
look
cover his
pretty
mouth.
good, except for
I'm trying.
the
Stuff your
eye-
microphone in
the,
it.
The internal set designs look like
There's no stopping
Steve
it.
Jobs did them.
All right.
Ooh.
So yeah.
So it's all kind of white and shiny, huh?
Well, Michael Okuda isn't a set designer anymore
Okay.
for Star Trek.
So, if you want to listen to the rest of Steve's Star Trek
We'll have
ranting,
extra content on
go
our
to his.
podcast.
It's going to be a hidden link on our website.
It's gonna be Steve
talking
talking by himself.
Like so many geek
So go
discussions
to
before, it was derailed by Star Trek.
bewareoftheleleopard.html, and then you can go there.
We'll be playing Star Trek, the soundtrack behind it.
All right. So next up, Dance Dance Revolution adopted into a musical play.
This is not
What?
better than what I was talking about.
Oh, well, what if Star
How
Trek
is
was
this
made into
related
a
to
musical
video
play? Would that be
games?
better?
Well, at
That
least
wouldn't be related to video games either.
yeah.
Well, I can't win either way. Jeez.
So moving forward,
So it's inspired an off-Broadway musical, and no, I'm not making that up. So,
Well, anybody can be an off-Broadway musical.
well, that's true.
I
We
could do
we
that
could
in
do an
backyard.
off-Broadway musical.
you stand out in the
Yeah.
street that's
We
not
would
on
meet
Broadway.
the requirement, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We are off-Broadway.
Right, we'll do it on Lincoln.
Yeah, we'll do it on Logan. We'll do it a block away.
Apparently.
So
Okay.
it's a little Colorado humor there for
Yeah.
those
It's
playing
the
home.
street just next to Broadway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Broadway. To,
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right, go to maps.google.com. Okay,
Or
All right.
don't. It's really not that
not that
exciting.
interesting.
it is. It's interesting.
It's-
Some people have never seen a grid-based street system, so it may be interesting. Okay, no, it's not.
well, why
Right.
would they be looking
Yeah.
at Denver then?
True. All right, so moving on. Stardock wants to bring you a new Star Control and Master of Orion. Two games I haven't heard of in a very long time.
More's
Master-
the shame.
Master of Orion isn't, the last release wasn't that old. I
How
mean, it was
long
Wasn't it
like-
like the
was it?
Genesis?
No.
No, this is like
Master.
DOS?
The last Master of
I don't think it's
Orion
Star
came out in the
Control.
late '90s. So
Yeah, although
Yeah,
they
the
were
Genesis was
specifically
still
talking
popular
about wanting to do a updated version of Master of Orion 2, which was, of course, the last good one.
well, like many a franchise.
Much like with Star Control, they want to do a sequel to Star Control 2, which was the last good one.
Yeah.
what was the last one that came out?
Star Control 3,
Oh,
which I hesitate to even call a Star Control game.
okay.
It really wasn't.
In name only.
Yes.
How much star controlling is in Star Control 3?
Less than necessary.
It's not the amount; it's the quality.
Yeah, it's kind of the animatronic rubber puppets and
Yeah.
turning everything into an isometric view.
Or like Chuck
Yeah,
E.
Neither
Cheese.
one of which were good plans.
It's like Chuck E. Cheese.
Just
Much like
Chuck
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
What was the name of the Chuck E. Cheese band?
That was the Rockafire explosion. Is that what it was? No, that was.
No, they were like a country bumpkin or some
I don't
country
remember.
name. I want to say.
Country Bears.
No, the Rockafire explosion was Showbiz Pizza.
Yeah,
Well, same thing.
I think it was one of the
Well,
other.
yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of differentiation between these particular franchises.
Yeah. It's like, well, the paycheck comes from the same place, so.
Well, in at least in Minnesota, there was in the same mall there was 3 of the same sort of thing. There was a Chuck E. Cheese, there was a Showbiz, and there was the Circus Pizzas that I worked at.
Wow.
And they were within
the golden age of animatronic pizza.
Well, yeah. And then there was
the
a
golden
Aladdin's
age of giving
Castle
kids
downstairs.
nightmares.
So it was like there was
Parents-
4 arcades within a half mile of each other.
The
It was
parents
great.
just walk in, drop their kid off, and say, "He'll pick the right one."
Yeah.
Just let him loose.
Well, one of them you had to cross a road for. So-
Oh,
They played
Which-
chicken. Come on,
yes.
Jimmy.
Was that one more or less popular than the mall ones?
That one was just as popular because there was a tidal wave video right next to it, and that sold porn.
oh.
So
How come we never got to those
one-stop
places?
shopping?
you didn't get a tidal wave?
We didn't get our tidal wave apparently.
Oh.
Tidal wave was like the Sam Goody of its time.
Of
So
porn?
overpriced.
Well, it had
and
porn, but
with
it had other
crappy
stuff too.
selection.
Oh.
It was actually it was back when Musicland was Musicland. It was just like the kind of music and video version of Musicland. You guys
Okay.
no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
None.
Musicland is what
You
Sam
come
Goody
from
was.
some strange far northern land.
Well, you
that
guys had
has
Sam Goodies, right?
different chains.
We used to.
Yeah. Musicland changed their name to Sam Goody after they bought Tidal Wave. So
There's a little corporate history for you.
Yep.
We had Sam Goodies until they priced themselves out of the market.
well, yeah, they weren't very good.
Yeah.
So it's
So,
like, why
you know,
would I
it-
want to buy more stuff from you when I can
So,
go to Best Buy?
so next podcast we'll talk about how soundtrack became Ultimate Electronic. So we'll stick
all right.
stick around for that.
That'll be another side cast from Steve.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about those. So.
Yeah. So next up, and this was what John was talking about earlier, the Guitar Hero arcade cabinet being made by Konami for some reason.
The big cabinet.
Well, you
too.
know, if you want somebody who knows how to make rhythm game arcade cabinets,
Yeah, all they have to do is change out the EEPROM off out of the Guitar Freaks, and
yeah, I was
there you
gonna
go.
say, yeah, they're
It's
just modding the Guitar Freak cabinet.
Nobody's playing the Guitar Freaks anyway, so they might as well.
Yeah. So
simple.
yeah, so
That's
I
what you
could
call
see that working if they took one of those old X-Men cabinets where it had the dual screen and the really big console, you know?
It's
Yeah,
got a 32-inch widescreen display.
So
yeah,
it's
the X-Men was a
basically
little
that.
bit bigger.
Well, no, I'm saying that's what they're putting in the Guitar Hero.
Oh, yeah,
arcade
yeah.
cabinet.
It's
big, but
that
still.
size.
Yes.
so there you go.
The
You can play Guitar Hero at your Dave and Buster's.
this is what we call synergy.
Really now.
Yeah.
Synergy. Huh?
It's what runs the enterprise.
So apparently arcade's not totally dead in the U.S.
Well,
yet.
they're the lame ass arcades that fucking white people go to.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
What?
like no, it's like Dave and Buster's, and they go around.
So which
like,
ethnic group can claim proper ownership of the arcades?
Wait a minute. When I was going to freaking arcades, there wasn't a single non-white person there.
Well, no, I mean,
ever.
but these are like stupid
That
white
was
people that don't play
Minnesota.
games normally.
Even
And then,
darker
you know-
people turn white up there.
yes.
So far
Eventually, everyone
north.
turns white in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's called frostbite.
No, that makes you turn brown or black, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you go blue first.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you
And
do
then it
realize at
dies
this
and-
point
yeah.
that, I mean, if you pick a low enough age group that virtually everyone is a gamer.
You're
Are you
ruining.
speaking of the casual
Yeah,
gamers?
You are ruining Murdock's view of his uniqueness in the world.
Yeah.
I'm very unique.
You know,
You're
we
going to have
hope-
to settle
just
for
like
being called
everybody
a
else.
doc.
We hope he is.
Yeah, could you imagine more of one of me?
Yes.
You wouldn't want to play with
It's-
each other.
It's like a kaiju big battle.
Yeah, you still wouldn't play multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Yes, he wouldn't even play with himself. Oh!
How long
Who
have you
did
been
all the
waiting
work in bed?
Something about Little Miss Muffet, something or other.
Oh,
To tough
what?
it.
Sat on a tough it,
some
eh?
spankings or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
I forget.
something.
You
All
made
right,
me
now.
clean the toilet.
I don't remember.
Little
All right.
work in
Well,
bed.
I just meant
He was a sucky ass comedian.
It's just
Yeah.
if you ever go to a Dave and Buster's, there's a bunch of stupid white people that play all these casual games that are in these huge ass cabinets that are like, huge versions of basically Wii consoles.
Yeah, but they're drinking.
Howl against the coming of the night.
Ugh. All right.
They're uncoordinated drunk white people.
Those are the worst kind.
This has been
Those are the
Murdock's
Dave and Buster's
spoken
crowd.
word tirade against modern arcade populations.
These are the same ones that you see. They get tired of those arcade games and go play the ticket machines.
What?
Yes.
Squaresville, baby. Population U.
Squaresville. That's probably a name of an arcade game too.
You're L7.
Yeah.
You're gonna write a book about going to Vegas or something soon, aren't you?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. There I was hanging around with, Jimmy down at the Tropicana. You used to watch a couple of shows back there. When the mob ran the place. But
I envision more of I envision your story about Las Vegas being more like the casino than leaving Las Vegas.
okay.
Or like your experience at the arcade cabinet center at Luxor.
Yes.
Yeah. I went to the Luxor arcade cabinet, and half the arcade cabinets didn't work, and the other half were on a really shitty screen. It was just like a normal arcade.
Yeah.
They got that experience down.
Yeah, they do.
They
The
really,
true arcade experience.
They really replicated
It had that glow in the
experience.
dark. It had that glow in the dark carpet that had like all the planets on it.
Right.
Well,
They had
Vegas lets you go to New York, to Paris, to a real arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They had the black lights.
which
that
is
highlighted
which is
every bit of paper.
which is
and
just
fluff
like
on
all
the
those
floor.
other places you
Not to mention all
mentioned.
the wind touching
Imaginary.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Do we have
Our
to-
last news bit is Pachideka, Japan's most wanted
Yeah.
pachinko slot machine. Japan's most wanted being in quotation marks because it's
Because the FBI has the trademark.
Yeah.
I guess. So this is a mugshot jackpot. It's software maker Famista has created an online pachinko slot machine called Slot Detective that publicizes suspects of high-profile cases. Instead of trying to line up cherries, players try and line up mugshots. Jackpots turn up details about suspects, police tips, and reward info.
I have two things to say about this particular game.
Okay.
One, I think that a Japanese game called Slot Detective should be something totally different.
It should be a DS game.
Yes, it should be a DS game that involves the
Right up there with
stylus.
the witch touching
Yes,
game.
yes.
It needs to use the Wii.
Yes, it
Doki
does.
Doki slot touching.
And number two,
Slot,
Throbbing slot touching, huh?
I find it very amusing that this particular, showing the details of high-profile cases only happens when you win. So the vast majority of people are not going to be exposed to the information they want them to be exposed to. Why?
makes it less helpful.
Yeah.
Less-
Maybe you get
Well, unless
different
they're
tips
loose
when you
slots.
lose.
Yeah, you get fake tips when you lose.
Or maybe you just win constantly because it's online and it don't matter.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just if you lose, it says, "Do you have anyone to suggest?" It's like, it allows the Japanese to inform on each other.
That would be awesome.
They'll probably bring this out over here, except they'll have missing children on it.
Yes.
Yes. And all it'll do is play Runaway Train over and
Yeah.
over again.
And instead of cherries and other things like that, you see, the stuff that's stereotypical among lost children. So, match 3 milk cartons in a row.
No, it
you just
would
see
just be
different-
the little milk carton image of
Yeah.
missing kids.
You
Yeah.
just, or, you
Match 3 of them, and you can
get
find out
to
where
see
their
the
last known
software
whereabouts
aging
were.
version.
yeah. Or, you when you really win, you just line up pictures of Soul Asylum. Yeah, so.
Maybe
It
they're
looked
the
like
wild
an awful lot
card.
of the
Yeah.
complaints
They're-
about this
they're
were
the-
people saying it
bar.
was
Yeah.
in bad taste to be making entertainment out of kind of people's suffering.
Well,
but if we already have that, it's called the nightly news.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
and this whole thing stemmed from an actual murder in Japan. So they're like, oh, we need to find a more, I guess, entertaining way to get people off the streets through a slot machine.
Or
Are they trying to
looking for
desensitize people?
Are people
or...
on the streets a problem in Japan?
Apparently.
No, it's just the people driving
I
on
thought
the
they just
streets that
lived
are
in their little honeycomb apartment complexes. And went to
Well,
work.
the
and
only
then came
problem with this is the company didn't consult either the police or the victims' families. They just went out and did this on their own, so they've pissed a lot of people off.
And people are not playing it because they're kind of freaked out at the fact that they're staring at wanted criminals. Slight problem there.
Yeah,
They're kind
the
of
guy-
creeping out the Japanese people going, all right, I've seen a lot of weird things on a computer, but I'm not playing this.
And it kind of desensitizes them, I think, though, too, is being confronted with all these bad men. You know,
Yeah.
because they're so naive in a sense.
Well,
you just got a problem
Naive
when
is not the word I would use for Japan.
no. You have a problem when you're going through and you're playing and then some guy gets next and you look over and he's on the screen. Like, okay, your turn.
and this is a pachi slot, so I'm assuming pachinko balls come out of this?
No,
would assume-
I think this is Pachi, as in it's one of their digital slot machines. It's not a pachinko.
Because it says it's a pachinko slot machine from the
Yeah,
description.
so if it was real, when you won, you'd get balls.
Huh.
But the reason they do that is to get around the gambling laws.
Yeah, so you
because
gotta go
trading
down
the
balls
street
for
and get
things
balls.
isn't the
So,
same thing as getting money.
In that
you can
case,
trade.
I was thinking,
you match 3 criminals, and you get pachinko balls.
Not really, because it's online.
Well, yeah, but
I
still,
was thinking
it's
more
like,
of a cheese low. It would make more sense to make it a digital slot versus a pachinko. But
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
then there's,
It's kind of weird.
what are you going to use with your winnings?
Well, you get to spend them on tips about criminals.
Yeah,
I mean,
Apparently.
obviously, it's not a very exciting game
No,
because
we're not talking.
they took the gambling out of the Pachi slot.
Puzzle Fighter, this is not.
yes,
Are
So-
the balls their version of tickets?
Yes.
I guess. So,
Yes, exactly. Pretty
so
much.
thank you, Japan, for giving us entertainment for at least a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
So, is there anything we need to talk about before we go into the reviews? Because I know you were you had mentioned something about some of the Black Friday stuff that we were going to look.
Yeah, anybody know
look
any
at.
good Black Friday deals?
Doesn't seem like there's many out there, really. I've been looking around, but nothing that's impressive.
I think the only thing I'm hoping for now is Amazon's got to count down to what they're going to do for Black Friday.
Yeah. Didn't they do that thing last year where they had a special deal every day? You had to just get in before the auction time ran out. You got a deal at its lowest possible
Yeah.
price. It was
Known
some mystery
as-
deal until that day.
Yeah, it's known as the time when Amazon's site goes down for an hour or so.
Oh God, yeah, they.
It's like trying to get the 360 a couple of years ago. It's like, oh, well, like it's been half a second, and they're already all taken. That's great.
Well, but they reworked that whole thing because that was like where you could vote on the one that they were going to offer.
Yeah, you got to choose
I think
between
they for
two
like
or
last
three
Christmas,
items.
and then they set it up so that it's like you got a ticket if you were one of the selected winners, so that you could come back and like try and get it at the right time
Or something.
Yeah, I mean they like cut it down so it wasn't just a mad dash like it was when they first
It
rolled
wasn't.
it out.
It's
what-
more of a
What we
lottery
really
system.
want to do is have a retail method for DDoSing ourselves. So yeah.
So, I don't know of any Black Friday deals, or at least ones that involve video games.
Well, it's kind of a problem that Black Friday won't be so black. So
Yeah, it's gonna be more blue.
I'm thinking it'll be somewhere between
Yeah,
whatever
weak
color you get
economy.
when you mix red and black.
that would be black.
Yeah, it would actually.
A really dark red.
Yes, it's kind of a
Crimson.
yes,
Yeah.
and
Crimson
clover.
Tide.
So, sorry.
Yeah, that's that'll be
Zero
used by
enthusiasm.
CNBC at some point.
Yeah.
Well,
It'll be
well,
like
you
the
know,
Crimson Tide of.
well, there,
and then just like every political campaign, you'll see it on Cavuto next, and they'll say, "Oh, we heard about the Crimson Tide was
Yeah.
coming," and then
Yeah.
that'll be the code word for the week.
yeah, I mean,
Obama's been compared to a Crimson Tide.
yeah. But John, I mean, it's in my case, it's just I worked Black Friday, and I just have no interest in going out anywhere to buy anything
Ever.
on that day. Well, I mean,
I've seen more good deals in the last month than I've seen leading up to Black Friday. I mean,
well, there was that
the-
crazy 360 rock band. Do you see that?
Oh,
Which
isn't that the
one?
one that Walmart's doing, where you get a 360 and like?
Well, you get this one of those 360 guitar or arcade packs,
right.
but they throw in freaking guitar rock band with it.
what?
Yeah, it was
Rock
crazy. It
Band
was-
1?
No, the second one. But
Huh.
but it was kind of crazy. It was on Kotaku like
I did
maybe
see
I
that.
think,
Thursday of
I
last
think
week.
the Walmart one was an arcade with Guitar Hero 3, and it was
Yeah.
still $200.
Yeah, there was a Rock Band one though. I'd have to go back and look for it because I remember reading it going, huh, that's a pretty good deal if you don't already have Rock Band. But you have to buy the hard drive because it's the arcade version.
Yeah,
So.
but still, you get that arcade,
Although
then
you
you
can get
chuck
the hard drives
you,
for $20.
Yeah,
now.
you
Yeah.
sign up for that deal and you get it for another
Yeah.
$20. They actually, I saw that deal online and it's $20. They give you 3 offers on that. Actually, it's $20 for a 20 gig hard drive, $100 for the 60 gig, plus your Cat 5 plus a headset, and then it's
Yeah,
like
it was like
120 or 140 for the 120 gig, and you get like one more extra item on that one. So it almost is worth it to just jump up to the 60 gig if
Yeah.
you can do it.
Well, yeah.
Because that's a better deal for a 60 gig drive.
Like, congratulations, you've paid more now for the next upgrade of the system.
You bought a premium.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. They never really save you money. They just give you that alternative. It's more like it's almost like a layaway program for those that can't afford the $300 one. They buy the 200 and then,
Yeah,
they have a
get
limited
that
time to come up with another $100 to get
Which
the upgrades and
It's not even
equivalent.
a limited time because they are selling all of the stuff that differentiates the premium from the core for $100 in a bundle pack.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
on store
you're not
shelves.
you're not saving any money.
Yeah, I wish.
Well,
I wish
You're
the
just getting more time to spend it.
I wish PlayStation 3 would actually do something that made sense as far as
Yeah.
as far as
Well,
their,
I mean, yeah,
their-
More consumers' options?
Yeah.
well, it's not
Sony does not equal sense. That's crazy talk.
Sony gives you plenty of options. None of them are any good, but they give you plenty of options.
That's what they
Yeah.
consider options, what
Yeah.
we consider crap.
Well,
yeah,
frickin'
I love
they
having to go to Wikipedia to find out what
Yeah.
PlayStation 3 I want to buy.
Well,
to figure out what they
what are
removed from
available.
the latest
Yeah.
version.
It's like,
And
oh,
this-
I want to buy
and
a
then reading
PlayStation
on,
3. What's available?
Then reading on Kotaku that they've got 3 new patents out this week, or
Yeah, that was
how many patents you got out this week? Well,
it was like what was it? Nintendo was doing a bunch of patents for their DS and was it Wii? They were coming out with like Wii, Wii gardening, Wii Renaissance Festival. I mean, I don't know.
I think they're just making patent shit up so they don't get slammed with lawsuits later on down the road. When they
That
actually come
doesn't
out with
seem to
a
help
Congratulations,
them.
you've described the U.S. patent system.
I don't think it's helping because
I think they're learning finally.
Yeah, because Nintendo got sued again for some patent infringement thing in was it Edge magazine, who used to be Next Generation, was talking to the patent holders, and the first things out of their mouth was like, "We're not patent trolls." It's like, yes, you are.
Yeah. So do you have a competing offer or a competing product? Well, no. Are you developing a competing product? Well, no. You're patent trolls.
Did you notify Nintendo 5 years ago when they first came out with
Yeah.
the bloody thing? No.
No. Yeah, you're a patent troll. Just deal with it. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Is your company going under publicly or filing Chapter 13? Well, maybe.
Is your office more than 2 cubes somewhere in an office park? No.
Oh, come on. They
You
had to
run
hire
your
more
business out
lawyers
of
than
your
that.
home.
They're all outsourced. They're outsourced lawyers in like Australia or something.
Australia.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on Australia.
Australia.
The worst place to be a gamer.
Worst place to do anything digital.
Kiwis.
Really now.
It is. They're what are they? What's their internet security head or
Yeah, the
whatever?
great firewall of Australia
Yeah.
they put in.
Yep. That they consistently make the worst possible decisions you can about national infrastructure. It's great.
That's awesome.
I mean, and they seem like a reasonably sane country otherwise, but
yeah.
man, they just keep
They make
fucking up the
some really
censorship
really
issues.
shitty
Well, they
economy.
do. Well, did you see the thing about the guy who the guy who's the head of the telecom thing that their largest telecom in Australia? He basically said that he's like, yes, we're going to implement this this thing for the Great Firewall of Australia just to show you how dumb of an idea it is. We're going. And basically, he's like, every time somebody reports that it's blocked something or that it's broken, we're putting out a news release.
The Great Wall of Auckland, or
Yeah.
I think I like that guy.
Yeah, he seems. It's like it was. It was
spent
it
a
was
lot of
on,
money to prove a point.
Where was it? It was on Gizmondo or something like that, where they took and said, "Yeah, you might think that the telecom guys in Australia putting up the firewall with Great Firewall of Australia are pretty evil. Turns out they're not."
So
They didn't want to do it.
No, they didn't. Well, shit,
They're just going to get a bunch of goddamn complaints about it.
Yep.
Suddenly they're responsible for the internet.
Yep. They're
Damn.
responsible for 4chan. It's like, who wants to be responsible for 4chan?
Not me.
No, not me either.
All right.
The helmet still won't help you.
All right.
What about the goggles?
Nope.
No, the goggles never help.
Nope.
What about in combination?
The goggles are just a trap, man. They'd lure you in with a false sense of protection, and then, bam, nothing.
Next thing you know, you're wearing a pair of
That's
those
not how
Sony
traps work.
Glastrons, and you just can't get away from
Yeah,
it.
They're not beer goggles.
No.
All right.
That's what 4chan needs, beer goggles.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
majority of it.
All right. So I guess we'll go straight to the reviews. And the first review I have, it's for THUNDERFORCE 6 for
Did you
the
get that?
import. Yeah.
It came out already?
Yeah, it came out
Oh,
like
okay.
2 weeks ago
Wow.
for the PlayStation 2 import.
Together.
So it came out 2 weeks ago in Japan, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I imported it because I figured it was highly unlikely that it was going to come out here. But I could be wrong. I've been
Can't
wrong
imagine
before.
why you would not think that PlayStation 2 game in a niche market would actually come out here.
Well, that,
They've
well,
released a surprising number of
well,
shooters
and,
on the
and
PS2
also,
lately.
also, I think was it Sony announced that now PlayStation 2 is an open platform, so now people can just release whatever they want, and it doesn't have to go through the Sony approval process anymore.
They've said that for Europe.
Okay, so they haven't said that
what
for the
was-
States.
I was just reading
No.
about a game that people are importing over here now from the UK because we had to give it an NC-17 rating, so they had to cut content out or change content. I swear it was a fighting game. Oh, it was it's Marvel or DC versus Mortal Kombat.
oh,
Right, because the fatalities were uncut in
Yeah.
the European version.
They took out what was it, Joker's fatality and something else. So people
well, they
are
didn't
actually
want the
importing
game to get
UK
an M
version.
rating.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the problem because we've got teen to M, but in Europe they've got a 15 plus rating that slots in between the two. So
Yeah.
since they wanted to release it as teen in the US,
So
they
we need a
censored-
teen 15 rating, a T15.
Ew.
Well,
We
I
need I don't know,
They needed
less ratings maybe.
less ratings,
Yeah.
maybe, or more precise, finer grained ratings.
Or
I mean,
Because
have
that
you-
little
things-
list of descriptions on the back is
Less-
not-
Oh,
have you
and-
seen some of the ridiculousness of those things where they go into medical strength detail on, well, it's got very frequent use of the word, bleh.
I love some of these ratings too because
Yeah.
they actually give spoilers away for the game. So if you go in and read the rating and why it was chosen, it can ruin part
Yeah,
of the
the
game for you.
the
That's
huge
good.
descriptors that the ESRB is now at, and well, it's on the website only.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they don't put it on the back of the box.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Where would they put it?
On the entire back
Yeah,
of
the
the
entire
box.
back of the box. You have to open it to get the actual summary of what the game is.
Yeah, it's like this game was rated M because there's titties. Yeah. Except the ESRB is like, well, there's frequent use of, jubblies, a.k.a. sweater puppies, a.k.a. blouse clowns.
After killing the main character who betrays you.
Yes. Yeah.
After finding out the whole game is a dream. Oh, shit. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
It's only a matter of time.
Oh, the one that they did for what was it, Persona, is pretty funny. It's like, well, there's these kids and they put guns to their heads. It's like, okay, this is going
Frequent
downhill real
suicide
fast.
references.
Oh, that explains that Kotaku cosplay post last week where they had it said we had a surprisingly number of disturbing pictures of cosplayers
yeah,
putting
yeah,
guns
yeah,
to
yeah.
their heads.
It was not like that.
It
They
was-
were
it
just
was-
referring to it, but
Well, they were, but it was kind of funny because there were a large number of
It was like
cosplayers
9 out
that
of
had
12 pictures
that had
had-
guns pointed to their heads in their poses. It's like, what?
well, because that's the standard combat animation in Persona 4.
Well, that
I
may be
mean,
the case, but
Like
come
every
on.
time a combat starts, they pull out their sight guns and they shoot themselves in the head. Every time.
That explains a lot.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe
Persona
maybe that's
once
Atlas's
again
way
blowing
to-
up people's heads.
So it might be Atlas's way to start, having teenagers think about, possible population control.
Because suicide is the worst thing in the Persona games.
No. Jack Brothers on the Virtual Boy is the worst thing about Persona games. You're looking at me like, what the fuck am I talking about?
Hey, so about this Thunderbolt game or
Thunderforce.
Not a
Thunderforce.
James Bond game.
Thunderforce.
It's not a Jackie
Thunderball
Chan.
6.
It's not a Jackie Chan movie.
Thunderball 6, yes.
Okay. So Thunder Force 6 is it's the 6th installment of the Thunder Force series.
Wow.
Well, actually the 7th. Because
Truth in advertising.
Well-
you know how it is. They make so many of them over in Japan, but we only get every second one. Or...
no, we got
But this is the Japanese
Well, here's
one.
the thing. We've gotten most of the Thunder Forces out here
Yeah.
because Thunder
about
Force
3
1 was like on an
platforms.
ancient PC system. And then 2 was on the Genesis.
It's
And
like Philosoma.
yeah, and then 3 was on the Genesis. 4 was on the Genesis. Came out here as Lightning Force.
Oh, if only we had those ancient PC systems still today.
And then 5 came out on both the PlayStation and the Saturn, but only the PlayStation one came out of here, brought over by Working Designs under their
Yeah.
Spaz label.
Yep.
So, yeah, we've seen most of them in Thunder Force AC came out on the Super Nintendo. So,
It's one of those series that's done surprisingly well over here. Where
Yeah,
you
for
saw all
some
the
reason. despite the declining shooter market, but
Yeah.
I won't get into that.
Is it actually declining, or is it just,
It's
staying
actually
the
growing
same?
again. From
Well,
what I've
they're
noticed.
actually releasing the shmups. So it's like,
Well,
maybe
for
you
a
could
while
stimulate the
there-
market by bringing the games over here.
Well, for a while there, with the new consoles coming out, the next generation, nobody really knew who was going to pick up the reins. So there was a bit of a worry that we weren't going to see as many over here. So I think there was a bigger push for them to come out on portables. But most of the portables, you just can't play them on. So.
But, well, plus with XBLA, they can bring out these games and not have to worry about a lot of the overhead. And Ikaruga's done surprisingly well.
Well,
on
even the
XBLA.
Wii, the Virtual Console's doing that, where they're re-releasing them on the system so that you can still have a
Yeah,
format.
well,
to
they're
play 'em on.
re-releasing some of the weird ones too.
Because you can buy it again, and that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So basically,
Yes.
Thunder Force 6 is if you've played the other Thunder Force series,
I bet it's a lot like them.
it is.
Do
I mean,
you
there's
fly
a
ship
slightly
around
there's a
and
slightly
shoot things while dodging bullets.
Well, it's just like any other sequel.
but
You don't want to
the-
change a formula too much because
Yeah, but
that's what
the
people bought
thing
it
with
for
Thunder
in the
Force
first
is that
place.
it's not, unless you're playing it on really, really high levels, you don't have to worry a lot about bullet hell.
Well, it never was a bullet hell game. Though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a combination of lots of enemies and lots of environmental dangers and bullets, but not as, I mean, we're not looking at Ikaruga level
Yeah.
bullets here, but there's 3 selectable ships. However, only when you start the game, you can only get the first one, and by clearing the game, you unlock the other 2.
Yeah, it's not like R-Type Final.
Yeah, with 101 selectable ships. The game, one of the ships basically works just like the other Thunder Force, so you can cycle through your weapons, and the other 2 are pretty much the same. You can cycle through the weapons, except each ship has a different array of weapons. But for the most part, the gameplay is still typical Thunder Force. The only real complaint I had is that there's a couple of graphical glitches in it, and I don't know if that's just because the game may have been rushed or something. I mean, you can kind of tell where they're at.
Talking slowdown.
No, not really slowdown. There's actually not a lot of slowdown, but there's just graphical glitches. I don't know how to describe it, but you'll see like something kind of pop in and out every once in a while. I mean, it's not major and it doesn't detract from the game, but it's just, I don't know if we're talking like an inexperienced team of people.
Yeah, maybe a rush job.
Yeah, and some of the music's very inconsistent, which really disappointed me. Because I really like the music in the Thunder Force series. It's always been really, really good. But they got like 7 or 8 different composers for the music in this, and it's just really inconsistent. Like some of it's just really ambient, and it's not memorable. And other the tracks are like awesome, like the old school Thunder Force tracks that I'm used to. Hard rock and guitar stuff.
Hard rocking guitars.
Yes. But it's just, a lot of the music was just like, okay, there's not really memorable. And for some reason, all the bosses speak Mongolian.
Well, why would?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
How
it's
did you
kind of
know
one of
it
those
was
lost
Mongolian?
languages. It just doesn't get used very much, so they wanted to bring it more to the forefront.
No, what now?
How did you know it was Mongolian?
I had to actually go into the Wikipedia article because the the area names are written in a very ancient Chinese that's no longer used. It's like tag something. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a real ancient writing.
Tagalog?
I believe so. It's like an old Chinese.
Because Tagalog is what they speak in the Philippines.
No, it's something else. It's an. I'll show it to you. It's very ancient Chinese.
Well, there's lots of old ways of writing Chinese. But anyway.
Yeah. And the boss names, for some reason, are in Mongolian. So I don't know if that's some sort of political statement on Technosoft's part, but
no stranger than them using like German names for bosses in
yeah.
some games.
But
So if Technosoft can take the time to do Thunder Force 6, where's my Urzogs Vi 2?
well, okay. To clarify, the game is licensed by Technosoft, but the game is actually made by Sega.
Oh.
What happened was that when Technosoft went out of Technosoft got bought out by a pachinko company,
Yeah.
the
Like
21
most
company,
game companies.
and what happened was that one of the programmers from Technosoft was smart enough and bought all the IPs for a lot of their properties before they got sold off. So he's basically just licensing the IPs to Sega. So there you go.
Buy Urzogs Vi?
I don't know. I can ask him.
Do you have his email?
No. And I'm not writing an email in Japanese to find out.
Well, you might have to do it Mongolian.
I guess.
Maybe.
But it is a fairly decent game. Kind of short. A little bit shorter than some of the Thunder Forces. You can go through it in about 15 minutes.
Wow, that's really short.
I mean, it seems like 15 minutes. It doesn't seem like a really long game.
That's well, if it's that and the glitches, it makes me wonder if they just kind of rushed this.
I think so. But, I mean, it is a very solid game. I mean, when you check it out, Brian, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of the Thunder Force series, like I am, and, you know, I happen to be a whore for franchises, as everyone knows, and I'll buy anything as long as it's part of the franchise. You know, if you like the franchise, you can pretty much buy it.
And you have a Japanese PS2.
That I do.
Yeah.
You're a Fran boy.
A Fran boy. So I like the
Franchise
nanny.
boy.
Yes, you like Fran Drescher.
Well, she is.
No.
Brian, help me out here.
No.
Fran Dresser. Would you hit it?
As long as she shut up. That whiny voice just kills
no.
it. She's like a modern day Bewitched.
Okay.
Got that Samantha thing going.
Okay.
You know, it's just kind of whiny woman
All right.
TV
Right.
character thing.
She's a feedback loop in her head.
That's kind of poetic.
No.
Okay. Do you have anything for us, John?
Nope, been playing too much Fallout 3 to, talk about playing games.
Can you talk about Fallout 3?
No.
Okay. Hurt my feelings. Make
You'd
me
have to
cry.
Kill you. Did
So-
you do Gears of War 2 yet?
No.
I could do that.
Since it just came out last week.
Was it last week? Feels like it's been a couple of weeks. I have no sense of time since I've been jobless. It's kind of nice, actually.
Oh, by the way, if you have a job offer for Brian, please email us at diehardgamerradio@gmail.com.
But anyways, yeah, I actually I went there about 9 o'clock that night before for the midnight opening, which all of like 9 of us showed up for at Best Buy. I was really sad, but
It's a good thing they stayed open till midnight for that.
no, they did. They closed at 9, and then they had some people come in about an hour early and get stuff ready. And I the whole reason I did this was to get that RC car, the little tank RC thing, which turns out they didn't send any of them to any stores in Colorado, so that was a big flop. But so I took a T-shirt and a hat when I was walking out the door, and that was it. You know, I was like, I'll. The only thing nice about the limited edition, which I bought for another $10, was you got another gold weapon that you could play online with. But I mean, big whoop-de-doo.
Oh, so when you pre-ordered it, it wasn't the pre-order to get the RC thing?
Yeah,
It was just
exactly.
like
That was the whole point, was to get that toy. I was the first one in line. I was out there. In fact, I was
But
watching
you didn't have to
Futurama on my
actually,
PSP while I'm sitting out there waiting for them to fucking open. And
You didn't have to actually pay anything extra.
no, you
That's
got
like
it for
okay,
free.
all
But
right.
there was such a limited number of them made.
that
They
probably
didn't even
explains
ship them
why
to
you
some
didn't get
states.
it.
Well, 0 is a limited number.
Yeah. really sad. But anyways, I got the game, and it was pretty cool. I'm still enjoying it. The online is definitely what the game was designed around, but it's a fun game to go through, and it's so much. Angry John was talking about the fact he really hated the single-player campaign. I didn't find it that bad, but he really liked it more so with co-op. He said, I really need to go through this with somebody on co-op because I think it's really going to be a much better game, and it really is. I've played it on co-op with a few people online, and it's a really fun game. I almost wish the only thing I wish it would do is 4 people in co-op, because after playing the Left 4 Dead demo a couple of days ago, I see how much fun that is. It really would be a better game, but graphically, it's even better than the first. Online, there's like the Horde mode now where you can go through with 5 players and just fight wave after wave of enemies. And you clear a wave, it gives you points, gives you a score based on how many of you survived, and it's a real fun co-op experience. But it's just more of the same, new items, new stuff to do, new achievements, and more multiplayer options, basically.
And new colors of brown, I'm assuming?
Oh, yeah, plenty of brown.
Okay.
And red. Really bloody, but still fun. They have a weird level. It's not a leveling system, but it's kind of a rating system when you play online, too. If you go up against stronger players, and sometimes even when I lost against a stronger player, I'd get these you get a chevron next to your name, and then you get 2 chevrons, and then it goes up to 3, and 3 are gold, and then there's a 4th one, which is like a captain's with a 3 high and the 1 low. But you normally get it when you go against stronger players and beat them. That's the only way you can get better chevrons and better ratings. And
does it give you anything if you get these high rankings?
No, it's just a little thing in between so that you can see player versus player, how, if you're fighting against better people or weaker people. But it's kind of a thing just to get you out there and try it and get you to play more. And it's kind of weird because I think when you go online to play multiplayer, it tries to match you against even players.
Yes, Xbox Live has always tried to do that for all of its games.
It fails sometimes though, because I got on there the other day, and I was up to 3 chevrons at this point. I went up from 1 to 3 in a day. It was kind of weird, but most of the people on the server were 3 or 2, and then there was 2 new guys, with just 1. And I think it just takes whoever can get at some point. It'll match the best possible group of players that are available at that moment, but then it has to add in a few other people to fill up the server because you've got to have 5 versus 5.
Well, it's like it did it. They used in Call of Duty 4. It used to, there's always 2 or 3 guys that, like me, that had no experience points, level 1 or whatever, and then you had a bunch of people that were really good, and you still got experience points for trying.
They were just cannon fodder. Yeah.
So, I mean, you were still able to advance just by playing the match.
So it's like that blue ribbon you get in kindergarten for also participated.
Yeah.
Gold star.
Yep.
They did add some neat stuff to part 2, though. I mean, the sequel, one of the neatest things, and they kind of took a page from Halo where they added, in the original one, you had grenades you could wind up and throw, and you would aim and throw. Now you can take those and stick them into walls, and they'll detonate when an enemy comes within the perimeter of them. Or you can take them and just literally run by a guy and stick it on his back, which is one of the achievements. Do that 10 times. And there's nothing funnier than watching a guy trying to reach for the nade, like an enemy, and he just explodes.
Do you have an opinion on the chainsaw duels?
They've gotten better, but it's kind of sad because there's still a cheeseball weapon for the most part. I mean, it's almost guaranteed you'll kill somebody if you run up to them and rev your chainsaw at just the right time. Unless they have theirs out, and then it goes to a duel, and you got to go back and forth. And
because it was that way in the first one too. But when you did that, you were pretty much dead too because you were standing in one place chainsawing a dude.
Yeah,
so it's self-balancing in its own way.
It's still not guaranteed that you win that. I mean, you may win that and kill the guy, but then a guy behind you kills you, and it doesn't matter. You're just kind of keeping yourself out in the open if you chainsaw a guy. So I'm actually having better luck with a shotgun. That thing does so much damage up close. I'll see a guy come up to me
with favorite in the first one when people weren't throwing grenades.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever I see a guy with a chainsaw weapon, I'll just jump backwards and fire at him a couple of times and take him out. And it's like, kind of giving it to the man. Fuck the chainsaw. But it's a little better, but it's still not perfected yet, obviously.
Did they get rid of the whole melee grenade tagging thing? Or you were saying that they still have that?
They do, but I think it's better now. I don't think it's
harder to do.
It's harder to do, I think. Plus, people pull out their chainsaws, and that kind of ends it right there. Right. You get the chainsaw effect before you get anything else, it seems like. So it's harder to melee with other weapons because you go up against the chainsaw and that effect just cuts in and it kills you. It's hard to stop it. So unless you have your chainsaw weapon out and then you go to that duel. So
Well, it
I'm
sounds
not
like
real
the
sold on
chainsaw
that because
is-
I can't seem to win those most of the time for some reason.
We'll get better at them.
I tap like a mother on there. I mean, I'm tempted to go modify a controller to go to auto fire just to see if it changes anything because I don't think I think it's kind of
but you'll
right
like
in the
void
beginning.
your warranty, and you'll get, it's like you're defeating like some sort of
Avoid the warranty on the controller.
Yeah.
sure.
Big whoop.
It's very
I think you've
important.
already done that a couple times.
Yeah, we took one apart and played with it.
By the way, do you have a screwdriver that I can use to take apart my controller because it doesn't use normal screws?
No, but I found a kit online that has almost I think it's every possible part
It's
for one
kind
of
of
those.
tricky because it really needs to get pretty deep down in there.
Yeah, this thing literally is like 2 to 3 inches into the controller. It's ridiculous.
What kind of screw is it?
I think it's a tri-head on that one, but it's not a normal tri. It's a weird triangle.
Well, because no, that was like the bizarre one. I think that was like a hex one, but it also had a post in the center or something.
Yeah, it was like a it's like the ones you use to adjust the headlights on your car.
Is it like an Allen
they're
wrench?
Torque wrenches, I think.
But with a hole in the middle.
Yeah, but with a hole in the center. It's kind of strange.
That's weird.
I don't understand it really. It just annoys me every time a new system comes out because there's some damn new screwdriver type I have to go buy to take shit apart.
I just want to make it hard.
Yeah, and it's I did find out surprisingly that the design on the Xbox controller is pretty unique. I thought it was kind of a crap job when I came out originally, but taking it apart,
Well, it
looking
still
at
is.
It is, but it's
Well, the D-pad
they
is.
still that goes without saying. But the rest of the design is actually pretty smart. The way they got to fit in the controller is pretty unique.
Definitely my favorite controller of this generation.
Yeah, it's definitely been. I've gotten a lot more used to it, and it's really made me want everything wireless now because I definitely enjoy using it for on-off remote for the system.
And what is your favorite controller of all time?
Oh, like you have to ask.
Well, no, I'm asking.
I wish they put that Saturn controller out for the new all the next generation because it really.
Are you
was
talking
best
like the
controller.
default Saturn controller?
Well, the 6 button was my favorite on there. That was probably the best Saturn.
Model 1 or Model 2?
I think it was Model 1 because it had the first set of 6 buttons on it. Not before they added the automated switches to it, like the auto fire, but just the original 6 button. That was the only controller I could still use fighting games on because that D-pad was so well made. And you had all 6 of those buttons together just like an arcade. It was just perfectly set up. To this day, it's the only one I can use for fighting games. I can't do any other kind of D-pad. I got to have a joystick.
And John, do you have a favorite controller?
Yeah, the original Xbox Huge.
The
Definitely
Huge?
My
Yeah,
favorite by
he's a
far.
Weirdo.
Yeah, you and Roger.
I couldn't get
Yeah,
used to
Roger
those because
really liked the Huge one. I couldn't
Those
stand
reminded
it.
me too
I couldn't
much of
stand
those-
the bear.
Those,
It really
they reminded me
fit
of the
my hands,
Dreamcast
was very
ones.
comfortable. Best controller ever had.
I don't think they were that comfortable. I think they were too fucking heavy.
Super Nintendo. That had a good controller.
No, it didn't.
Yes,
It was
that
yet
thing was
another in
light
a
as a
long line of
feather.
like, flat puck things that you kind of claw your hands around.
And those R buttons, the R and L buttons broke too easily, I think, on those. They wore out.
Well, that's
too
because we were
fast.
playing fighting games on them,
Yeah.
and we had to assign something to the R button, and it just happened to
L
be the
button.
button that you used all the time.
Yeah.
So
Another reason why those sucked for fighting.
Original on television. Oh yeah.
Just like that jog shuttle.
I just like the
until
keypad.
your pad wore
no, that's
through.
a ColecoVision.
Yeah,
The
television
television had
did.
that too.
Oh, speaking of, I
It
saw
had
the
little
re-releasing
inserts
the
that came with
Atari,
every game.
the
Yep.
original Atari joystick is being re-released.
Why?
I don't know. People just like torture, apparently. They want the new generation to understand our pains and
Yeah, okay.
frustrations.
So you can play summer games and destroy them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
The only thing that's probably good for is a sex toy at this point.
No, the only thing
The
it's
thing
good for
was
is
so frickin'
nostalgia.
stiff.
Yeah. Well, they had all those that they made with the 2600 games built in,
Yeah.
and so they
Caught
had to
one
sell
of
them for
them.
something.
Oh god, those things were like a small table with a stick attached to them.
They were. But,
All right.
but they could double for the Commodore 64 and stuff. So.
Plus, speaking about Atari, you can now download Adventure for your
iPhone. I
iPhone.
saw that.
It's like, there's this yellow duck thing that's following me for
I love
some
it. It has no
reason.
background noise except for when the duck's nearby. It's about to attack.
just like the original.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you can't move forward, move back.
So the short version for Fallout 3, it's a lot like Oblivion with all the rough edges polished off. The dialogue is excellent, and the setting's compelling.
And the horse armor is cheaper. Oh wait,
There isn't any yet.
What do you like
We'll
about
have to see.
What do you think of the auto system versus the manual system?
They both work great.
You can go either or, and you're happy either way.
Usually you use them both,
Okay.
as they both have their place and they tie into the statistic system really well, and the various weapons that they've got. It's an excellent combat system. Managed to pull it into real time and works better than anything else I've seen for it.
so stupid question, John. Would I like Fallout?
I don't know. Did you like Fallout or Fallout 2?
I've never played any of them.
Play Wasteland?
No.
Going back pretty far.
He's
there.
not making this easy.
Did you play Oblivion?
No.
What's the last role-playing game you played that wasn't from Japan?
Bard's Tale 1.
Daikatana.
Daikatana is not a role-playing game. Dungeon Master on the Amiga.
Well, fuck. Yeah, it's about time you tried
Yeah.
one.
How'd you try something new
Does-
there, buddy?
does
Even if you don't like it, you have
It's
to try
entirely
it.
possible.
Does Diablo count?
No.
No.
Oh, well,
Fallout 3 is probably Game of the Year for me.
I thought that was Braid.
That's probably arcade game of the year.
Well, I hadn't played Fallout 3 yet.
Garçon, more genres.
And there's definitely something about a
The
game that
flag
manages to
must
be interesting and compelling for, 60 hours.
Huh.
The game's just that good. If you haven't played one in 20 years, this would be a good one to give
Yeah,
a try
get
again
one.
and see what
Give
you
it a
think
try
of
there,
the
buddy.
genre.
Go try it out.
Now, can I run it with... Now, I only have like a stick of 512 in my Amiga, so I can't run it. I need it up to 1 meg, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You might need one of those Power PC booster
Oh,
processors.
You need one of the daughter cards.
Oh, yeah. I need to replace my Fat Agnes chip.
Yes.
Wow, that's really...
Obscure.
That's not...
It is really obscure.
It's not obscure
it's about
among...
the Amiga.
Hey,
If we were
I
in
loved
Europe,
my
it would
Amiga.
be.
Yeah, that
Damn
doesn't
it.
mean it's not obscure. It was almost obscure when it existed.
I haven't had a girl meditation error in like years.
Yeah, that's great.
Well,
Yes, you didn't even play like Knights of the Old Republic?
no, because I don't care for Star Wars.
Uh,
So, I
you
mean,
skipped over Jade Empire and
no, I mean, well, the I've never really cared for any of the Star Wars video games, to be honest with you, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I like Star Wars, but I'm not enough of a fan of Star Wars to want to go play a game about Star Wars. So that didn't really interest me.
it's just kind of surprising for me that you've skipped over 20 years of the genre.
20 years of Western RPGs.
He's been outsourcing RPGs.
So it was 20 years ago when I became a weeaboo, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Maybe you should play like Planescape Torment. That might be a good one to get your feet wet on too.
Oh, is it made by EA?
Damn, who published that? I think that might have been
Bethesda?
No,
Ireland?
No.
no, I think that was Interplay
Wow.
because that's the one they did after they did the Baldur's Gate
Interplay.
ones.
Wow, Interplay.
Yeah, so I mean, Planescape Torment, that's only like 10 years old.
heard
that
So
name
that
since,
might give you like
try.
a nice midpoint.
I've heard that
there.
name since, was it Clay Fighter?
Yeah, I haven't
You
played
gonna
an
play a
Interplay.
couple Accolade games while you're at it?
How about Infocom? Is that current enough for me?
Some sort of epics.
Oh, God, I remember Epics.
Yeah, see?
Right up there with
That's
Infocom.
obscure.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we're done.
Yeah?
So thank you for listening to Diehard Gamer Radio. Join us again next time. We will have a gay podcast coming up.
Whatever you do, don't stick a fork in your M-Doc.
What?
Yes, don't do that.
Yeah, please don't.
That, whatever he just said,
Even if the podcast
No.
is done.
Thank you for listening to Die Hard Gamer Radio. You can visit our website at diehardgamerradio.com and iTunes, or you can email us at diehardgamerradio@gmail.com.